guys, it's Kristen with Simply a Stewart, and I am back with another video. This one is going to be my third installment on my homeschooling curriculum series for the 2020-2021 school year, and it is going to be my rising fourth grader, but she does do some fifth grade work. So if you've watched any of this previous series, you will know that my student who is below her actually works back a little bit, just because he struggles a little more in some subjects. This student particularly works ahead in some, and that's one of the beautiful things about homeschooling, is the fact that we can really tailor the education to the student and work on their weaknesses and really foster those strengths. So grab a cup of coffee if you guys want, or tea, or whatever it is that you enjoy, and just hang out with me, and I will share with you guys what my student will be using for the upcoming school year. So this is all workbook oriented stuff. I do use a lot of hands-on, and we do some field trips with the local community. We also do some art type things with a local church, and many different aspects, but these are the actual hands-on workbook style materials that we will be focusing on. So the first thing I'm going to tackle is language arts, and I will say that our core is Master Books Language Lessons for a Living Education. Now, I've heard this question around many times: do you think this is enough? I think it can be enough. I don't think it hits on the writing side of things hard enough for my older students, and so we do supplement this quite a bit, in my opinion, for the language arts portion of their curriculum for my older students. So this, it has a 5-day-a-week lesson plan, and if you guys aren't familiar, all master books have like an actual lesson plan in the beginning, which is really cool for my type A students, my oldest especially, who is able to kind of check mark and keep track of what she's doing. So it starts out the unit with like a narration, and then there's always an exercise that goes with that day. So it's not just a narration and then they're done. There's an actual text page, but you can see these pages are very brief. This is day 2, where they begin to focus more on like grammar, punctuation, mechanics of writing. Same with day 3. Day 4, it's usually a picture type study or memorization, and it correlates typically with this book. So this is a book that is required to use this book in its entirety. This book is very inexpensive. I think it's like $10 for the book. We used it last year where my students only used one book for the 2 of them, and it was not a problem at all. So if you have 5 or 6 students that fall within the grades that use this, you might want more than one book, but for 2 students it was no problem for us. And then on day 5, it usually is some type of spelling. Now, for day 5, this particular student does not do the spelling within here. I don't want to say she's gifted in spelling, but it's something that she was always a little more advanced in, and so we have been using a spelling curriculum in addition to that, and we choose the BJU spelling workbook. She really enjoys doing this. She likes the very straightforward. There's a 20-word list or so. You work through the list. We go over the words at the beginning of the week. We talk about what they are, so we make sure that she knows what the actual word is. She's not reading it incorrectly, which has happened a time or two. And then it's a 5-day work page, or 4-day work page. They do 4 days of worksheets in correlation to those those lists. And then on day 5, they take a spelling test. It's pretty straightforward, same type of thing we would have done when I was in public school. But this is a Christian curriculum, so there is a lot of Jesus sprinkled through this, which I really love. So she does do this in addition to the language lessons for spelling. She does not do the spelling in there at all. We just completely skip day 5, which means she can continue just kind of to work, so she's not, or she can skip Fridays and just not work at all. I kind of leave that option up to them. These 2 things we will be using to work on our writing skills. That's where I feel like Masterbooks kind of fails. Sorry, I have neighbors. I live on the end of a dead-end street, but I have neighbors way in the back who have like landscapers who come, and that was their landscapers going past, very loud. Anyways, I do not feel like Masterbooks for my students is enough for the actual writing, composition type, not grammar or mechanics, but composition writing portion. And so we use these types of subjects. What I do, typically, I leave this in its entirety, and then I pull this along with the next book you will see out. I pull some of the pages out and put them in a binder, and I kind of just let them do them at their leisure on days. A lot of times they'll do these pages on Fridays when they don't do the spelling out of the Masterbooks. These are super simplistic. This is actually grades 1 through 3, so this is younger, but I thought I did this with her last year, and she told me I didn't. So we're going to start here instead of moving her to the paragraphs. But it's just how to write a better sentence. So they're not writing the cat walked. They're writing, the black cat walked across the street. So just kind of learning how to make a better sentence. And then this is the 6 trait writing. Very simple. You can see here, each page, it's black and white. These are the ones that are only cost like $6 or $7, and you can write right in them. You can get a teacher's copy, which has a little more instruction. This is just open and go for the students. If you want to make this like your entire curriculum, and then you can make copies of the pages, and you can use that and make copies for your future students or whatever. But this is just Tuesday and Thursday, or sorry, Tuesday and Wednesday. Jeez, oh man, I haven't drank enough of my coffee apparently. And then Thursday, another kind of like graphic organizer, and on Friday they're writing a short paragraph or something to that effect. So this is fully working on like that composition style writing, opposed to, like I said, the mechanics and the narration and the picture study and stuff. So I did pick this up as well. We kind of work it in. I don't fret if they don't finish any of these. When we first started homeschooling, I was you have to do open to close, like everything has to be done. I've learned to kind of back off on that. It's not overly important. It's more important that they're really learning when they're doing the stuff. So not to say that they don't have to do their work and they can only work like 2 days a week. They have to fully be doing work. If we don't do the last couple units because there's so much, I don't fret over it. And then I picked up this book last year, and I really enjoyed it. It's from the All About Reading, All About Spelling. If you've heard of those, it's from the same company, and it's all about homophones. And this goes up through grade 8. Yeah, grades 1 through 8. So I make copies for all of my students. I have not started with my younger 2, because my kindergartner isn't even there yet, and my other student he isn't quite ready. But this works on words, and it's almost hard to read that backwards, but it's high and high. Words that are homophones. And one thing, it's really taught them what homophones are. Doing this consistently every year, they don't get all of those things as confused. They know what a homophone is. Second, it works on a lot of the homophones, and it's helped my oldest with spelling. She really struggles with spelling, so seeing the difference in the spellings and having to differentiate those. So I really enjoy this. I'm using the 5th grade worksheets for her this year, and so I will just copy the 5th grade worksheets, and I will put them in the same binder that we use for the Evan Moore stuff, and that will be what we call just her writing binder for the year. So she will pull out her writing binder, her spelling, and then the language arts by Masterbooks, and kind of just work through those things. She will be doing language arts every day, but she will not necessarily be doing every workbook every day, if that makes sense. All right. Now that we've made it through, I think, the hardest part of what we are doing, we got the daily science. So she really loves this program. It's not my favorite science program of what everybody's doing, but I do try to foster the things that my kids really love. I try to let them have a say in their curriculum within reason. And so she's really like this. We started it a couple years ago when we first started switching over from cyber to homeschool, traditional homeschooling, because science just wasn't our thing that much. We like nature study and those types of things, but as far as like learning about chemical reactions and learning about the different types of metals and weather and all of those things, that just wasn't something that really interested my students as much, but I wanted them to have some science. So we picked this up the first year and she just fell in love with it. She's really liked it. So we have continued with it for her. And it's just a very simple on day one. There will be a topic. So this one is about bees. It's a paragraph, usually some kind of picture or diagram, and a very short fill in the blank, matching, true and false, something to that effect. And then we will continue. We will have 5 days of worksheets on the same topic. And then we will switch to a new week and a new topic. Now, as she's getting older, I have noticed if you are a person of Christian faith, there may be some things in here that you disagree with. That could be a conversation starter for your student if they're in a point that they can have those kinds of mature conversations. If your student is much younger, you might choose not to expose them to some of those types of things. So I think it was last year, there was something about like millions of years old, and that just isn't something that resonates in our family. And my student at that time actually already knew that. We've already had those conversations, and she brought it to me and said, "Mom, this isn't right." And we discussed it a little bit, but we just basically overall just crossed out the whole section, and I said, just skip it. It's not a big deal, and it wasn't a big deal to her or I. But that's just something I wanted to share in case Evan More Science is something that you guys are looking at. This is probably her favorite and the subject she cannot wait to start. She has been asking to start this, kind of chomping at the bit, but I wanted to get these videos up for you guys. And it is Mind Benders. I did pick up level 4 for her this year. If she could have done all of the levels last year, she would have. So we picked this up last year for the first time for her logic, and she absolutely loved it. She asked me to find them online. I found as many as I could for like holiday days where we would do a little more fun activities. I would find ones for like Christmas and Thanksgiving over on like Teachers Pay Teachers or Pinterest, but I couldn't find very many. So she has been begging because she finished this within the first 9 weeks last year. And so I did pick this up. It is just, if you've ever seen those, they're just trying to figure out the answer to the solution by it's not this one, it's not this one, it's not this one, by the information you're given. So that one was small, but you can see they're much larger graphs, a lot more detail to figure out. Here's some of the other ones. So I really enjoy these types of books. Actually, this is not something I thought her older sister would enjoy, but she really enjoyed doing it with her when I found the holiday ones. So you will see in an upcoming video that all of my students are actually doing Mind Benders this year, except for my youngest. Pardon me. I am like doing all of these videos for you guys today because that's how mom life rolls. I'm sure you can all relate. And so I'm trying to get all the curriculum videos up for you guys today. Or at least film so I can get them up for you, and I'm a little bit losing my voice already. So the next thing I am doing this year, and this is something completely new to us, some of these things are kind of old, we've used them before, and some of them are new, is the American Story, and we chose Story 1 by Master Books. So I am really thrilled with everything we have used by Master Books. If I had my way, my students would probably all just use all Master Books and I would be done, except for math, because that's something that I prefer Horizons for, which you'll see in a bit. But So we have done history to this point as a group subject, and if you've watched my end of the school year reviews, I explained that we're no longer doing group subjects due to having so many younger students who need a little bit more attention, and my older students being ready to kind of move through their day and move on. And so we decided we would try American Story, and my girls are really excited after looking through this. You can see the workbooks are just amazing. I love all of the color. I just love the text. This is almost something I wish I was teaching, opposed to them just kind of doing. I'll be excited to talk through it with them. So I think I figured out that they can do this a few days a week. They don't have to do it every day. But in the beginning, sorry, I can pull this up for you. In the beginning, because I bought this secondhand, so whoever did this pulled out the actual sheets. In the very beginning of every one, there is a check sheet, again, for master books, and it shows what you're supposed to be doing every day. Looking at it, I think it's kind of broken down more than it needs to be, so they can do it in a couple, like 2 or 3 days. But if they want to spread it out, they can. And because they are a little bit older, that's probably something I will allow them to choose to do, whether they want to or they do not want to. But this is the teacher's guide. It is the book that has the check sheets in it. It does not come in the text. So this will be your students' textbook to read, kind of like a traditional brick and mortar textbook that they're given. This will have all of the teaching guidance in it. It will have all the worksheets, those types of things. So I think that if you give them those beginning worksheets and the beginning check sheets and this, they can pretty much do it entirely on their own as long as you copy the worksheets out of here, which is what we will pretty much do. I do go through and check all their work and have discussion with them a little bit, but they are for the most part able to do everything independently. I don't need to actually teach it to them or sit with them as they read it. So I am very much looking forward to this. Has anybody used this out there? What do you guys think? I wanted to start with level 1 for her. Her older sister, and again, I know I'm kind of crossing over here. You will see shortly, if you watch that video, we'll be doing Story of the World. Sorry, not Story of the World. American Story 3 in 6th grade. And so this student is technically in 1st, and so I figured I would do 1 this year, 2 for her in 5th grade, and 3 in 6th grade, just as her sister has done it. Kind of make it easier just to keep them on the same path and buying the same books. So I'm very excited to start that. And then I bought this year the 1-year daily devotional by Word of Life for our devotionals. Again, we have done devotions as a group subject until this year. I was kind of saddened because I wasn't sure how I was going to figure this out this year. I really love this devotional. I have been looking at it for a couple years, and it was just, in my eyes, kind of expensive when I could do it as a group subject to spend $20 a piece on a book for my students. I mean, with 4 students, that's $80, or I could buy one $20 book and do it with everybody in our group subject time. But we're not doing really as many group subjects. We are going to have some morning basket stuff. So I wanted to try doing an individual devotion, and I'm probably going to let my older students take this up to their room because I'm trying to let them do their devotions first thing in the morning, and they've been doing individual devotion books, but as the school year starts, I might let them switch over to this. And if we ever decide to do them as a group, what I understand, and I have not clarified, I guess, by going through this, is that the ages, as long as you have the same, like this is the 2019, I actually bought these on clearance for $10 each because they are last year's edition. They are 2019-2020. As long as you have the same edition for each student, they kind of correlate as far as verse goes, so we could do them together. But I'll be honest, I have not verified that. I have not sat with all of them open at the same time and looked. But basically, it's just a learning about verses. Here is here's a little picture, and it has just a did you know, and it gives you some information. This one's actually about pigs and the law of Moses. And then they have a Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and I do like the fact that it includes the weekend, because I mean, our life with Jesus is every day, not just on Monday through Friday. And then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So it's the front and back. if you have the spread, you can see that this is the end of week, it was week 20, or 19, and this is the beginning of week 20. So that's kind of how it works. These books, like I said, they're about $20 a piece. Originally, I was able to snag them for $10 a piece this year. I don't know if they do that every year. I'm going to kind of keep an eye out. If you guys are interested, I think Erica over at Confessions of a Homeschooler may have a little bit more in-depth review of that. That's where I first saw those books. So I'm very excited about that. For handwriting, we are doing Handwriting by the Good and the Beautiful. So she is already partway through book 4, so I did pick up book 5 for her this year. We really love this program. We started originally with Handwriting Without Tears, and we have flopped over to Handwriting with the Good and the Beautiful, primarily because of the student. She works so quickly through some of her books that we had to start a new book. And the year that we started that originally with Handwriting, she had already completed Handwriting Without Tears at that level, and so I didn't think she was ready to move to the next level. I think it began cursive, and she just wasn't ready to begin cursive. I felt like she still needed to master more printing, but she wanted to continue with the subject. Like she didn't want to just be done with her book for the year. So I picked up a different publisher and the same handwriting, and they've all fallen in love with it, and so we've just continued. So we are working on this. You can see here's a page towards the end of level 4. Not quite the end, but towards the end. And you can see in level 5, there you go. I think the page before that actually had a paragraph. And the cursive is smaller. That's something that's really important to me. I feel like sometimes they don't learn to write smaller, and they're still writing very large cursive, which is what she's doing here. So that'll be great for her. I am really excited. These are, again, a biblical program. There will be scripture and references to the Bible and different things in these books. So if that's something that does not suit your family, I just want to put that disclaimer out there. So, and then we have the daily geography. She really likes this. It's really short and simple, and I think that's kind of why. But each week just basically has 2 questions a day. I swear, guys, I live there's only 4 houses after me, and there's never this much traffic. You would figure the one day I come out to film, everybody would be loud. But Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, there's just 2 questions each. So if you flip over, Thursday and Friday are the same way. Each page worksheet correlates to some type of map in the back, some kind of page that they're learning about in the back. And this is what they will use to reference to get their answers. My student has asked me not to do it, but if it were me and I were dealing with a younger student, I would probably tear these pages out and put them in a binder with the map from the back and the worksheet from the front page, and put them into a binder. The flipping back and forth, to me, is just crazy, trying to read the map in the back and then flip and answer and go back and forth. As a student, that's up to them, but as a teacher, it's annoying for me when I'm trying to check, because some of the answers are like how many cattle were raised in Kansas based on the map key. So it's not something I can just say it's south or north, it's something I actually have to check the map myself to answer. So I would put them in some kind of binder, just as a side note, as we've already done this, but she has asked me not to do it, so I make her keep 2 bookmarks on the exact pages she's using to make it a little bit easier on me going back and forth. Now she is using, again, this year, Horizons Math. So we have used Horizons Math pretty much since the beginning of our journey, and she has really enjoyed it. She loves this program. It's very biblically based. It is a spiral program. If you are not familiar with that, means that when it introduces a concept, it does come back around to it. The only thing, and it's colorful. That I love that. Even in the older grades, it's still colorful. So the only thing I have found with Horizons Math that I do not like, and this is actually the grade that my older students stopped using it completely because it was too overwhelming, is there are a lot of problems. I don't notice that in kindergarten. I don't notice that in first grade. Once they hit that second, third grade level, I notice they're becoming a lot of actual problems on a page. Now, if you have a student like my current student here, that's not a problem. I say do every other one, or I say, no, you've really mastered this. You really have it down. Don't worry about it. Just cross out that section. You don't need to do it. And I will kind of go ahead several weeks at a time and kind of just go through and like cross out different sections or cross out different problems and kind of make it a little more simplistic. Now, for my oldest daughter, that was entirely too overwhelming. So we've switched her to something different. But for this student, it's really worked just fine. She really likes it. Here's even the last page of the very last lesson in 4th grade, just to give you an idea. But look at all that color. I love that. I love it. I love that it's colorful. So, well, I guess that's her test. And it does have tests in it. So for me, as I do have to do some reporting, we have to turn it in a portfolio to an evaluator. That's kind of how it works in my state. I'm able to easily pull out those tests that are in there and just keep the tests and turn them into the evaluator. I don't have to worry about going through like a bunch of work. So that is everything that my 4th/5th grader will be using in terms of workbooks for this year. If you guys like these kinds of videos, please give that a thumbs up. And if you guys are interested in more homeschooling content, please go ahead and make sure you subscribe down there if you haven't yet. And we'll see you guys all next time. Bye.